It's a big day for updates here at the Southern Draw Law News Desk. We have Mahindra Mick Patel suing every damn body in Georgia who did everything they possibly could to frame him for a kidnapping that never happened and lock him up for almost 50 days. We have a disgraceful judge that I've featured on this channel before back in 2024 when I was a itty-bitty baby YouTuber, drunk with power, ego-driven. She messed around in Texas and got herself indicted, arrested, and suspended from the bench. That's Rosie Speedland Gonzalez. We're going to go over the previous case I covered with her and the new update. And we have an NYPD police officer who shot somebody in a road rage incident and then left the scene. He's been convicted and on his way to prison. All of that, plus an opportunity to laugh at a clumsy cop on this week's episode of The Rebuttal. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Southern Draw Law. My name is James White, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, former police officer. Now, you guys are all familiar at this point with Mick Patel, but in case you're not, and in case any story that I'm talking about today is not one that you're familiar with, and at least two of the three updates that we're going to be covering are stories that I covered very early on in my channel and perhaps before you started watching. So if any of these stories are not jarred in your memory, I'll be leaving links in the description to all of these original stories. You can go back and watch the videos. But Mick Patel, if you don't remember, is the Georgia man who was accused falsely by Caroline Miller of attempting to kidnap her child in an Ackworth Walmart. He was railroaded by the Cobb County District Attorney's Office, the Ackworth Police, and the former Ackworth Police Chief, who was also an assistant district attorney under Sonia Allen. So I got an email today from the law firm representing Mick Patel. Mick made sure that I was on the email list for this press conference, announcing that they had filed a lawsuit in the United States District Court in Georgia against, you're going to love this, they are suing the Ackworth Police Department and the investigator, the District Attorney's Office, Sonia Allen by name, and their investigator, and they are suing Caroline Miller, the person who lied about Mick Patel trying to keep their child from falling on the ground because their lazy ass was riding around in a handicap scooter when they didn't have a handicap. And Mick was there to try to catch the baby. And then she waited 30 minutes and accused him of trying to kidnap the baby. All of the evidence was available to them at the time, and yet they looked at it and said, seems like somebody we should charge with a felony. Well, if you followed the story, you know Mick was jailed for 47 days. They did some real sideways stuff in the process of trying to prosecute this case no matter what. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a full update video in the next couple of weeks going through the allegations in the lawsuit because some of them are pretty wild. And then we're going to kind of peel it back a little bit. I've reached out to the attorneys representing Mick in hopes that maybe we'll get an interview. We'll see whether or not they'll sit down with me and talk about this case, and then maybe we can sort of have a conversation about what they hope to accomplish in this lawsuit. But that is something to watch because Mick Patel is not your run-of-the-mill guy that you get to screw and nothing happened to you, okay? He's got money. He's got influence. He lived his life the right freaking way. He had an enormous impact positively on this community before they ruined his life, and he's not going to lay down and take it. So we're going to see how this plays out. We're going to ultimately find out whether or not these people can run and hide from accountability or whether they will take one on the chin and be down for the count, but I'll keep you updated as we go along. The second item on the docket is Rosie Speedland Gonzalez. I did this previous video, and this was the deal. Rosie Speedland Gonzalez fancies herself as some sort of an activist on behalf of abuse victims and children and all this stuff. And I went through her entire resume and why it's entirely hogwash, because her conduct on the bench is completely disproportionate to the way you would expect her to behave as a trauma-informed activist. So I don't know what Rosie Gonzalez thought was going to come, but I could tell by the way she was acting way back when I saw her in 2024 that she was not going to be long for the bench in Texas. So I'm going to kick you back to that video that I did and just show you a little clip of what I said would probably happen. Now, best I understand it, Judge Gonzalez runs a domestic violence / drug court. We have a person who has special needs, and they are in a Zoom hearing. And the way that she treats this person is, to me, just mind-boggling. I've never quite seen a judge act this way towards a person after they knew the person had special needs, especially given her stated background. But let's watch this video, and then we'll stop at different intervals and talk about what's going on.
Okay, Olga, let's get on the record in a case that has not been filed. It's case number 2024 PF 16408. And I believe, Mr. Patel, that you have conferred with the state, and there are some agreements that need to be put on the record, but we also have matters that need to be resolved by the court.
The state and defense have agreed to the travel permissions for defendant, and all that needs to be addressed before the court is the changing of bond conditions.
Okay, so first thing I want to draw your attention to is, as the clip begins, you notice Mr. Maddox Ponce, rocking back and forth, and you'll notice that he's making some movements with his mouth. Anybody who has been around anybody who has autism spectrum disorder, is on the spectrum, however you want to categorize it, understands this behavior as sort of like a coping mechanism or soothing mechanism that is referred to in most cases as stimming. People with ASD often have to do these sort of movements to make themselves more comfortable, and my understanding is that they're trying to relieve whatever anxiety they're feeling. It's not something that they can control. I wouldn't say it's involuntary, because I think they do initiate it, but it's beyond their control, best I can understand.
Okay. Mr. Ponce, you'll hear your attorney maybe call witnesses or put evidence, other types of evidence on. We'll hear your side first. Kelly, the floor is yours.
Judge, we call Carrie Barnett, Karibarnett.
Mr. Ponce, are you doing something with your mouth?
He's not doing anything, man.
I think he's like Sabrina's people, Marie.
Okay. He relaxed. Okay. What's he doing, Kelly? He seems to pucker up and then relax. Pucker up
Judge,
and relax.
I think he's special.
He's special needs, Judge. So
Okay.
We're just
All right.
difference.
Have you done a competency request?
Not yet, Judge. I'm asking that we can get this resolved first, and then we're going to explore that avenue.
Okay.
Okay, this makes me cringe, actually. They're not mocking him, but they're being so insensitive about what's going on with this young man. It's actually heartbreaking. He can't control it. And you've got a busybody person who isn't a party. Whoever Marie is not a party. She's not even visible on the screen. And she has drawn the judge's attention to the puckering motion that Mr. Ponce is doing with his mouth, which again is stimming. It's a soothing coping mechanism. Then the judge narrates what he's doing. Oh, he's calmed down. He's relaxed. What's he doing? What's he doing, Kelly? It's just the judge is very barky and very arrogant and aggressive in the way that she speaks, and I already don't like her, but that doesn't really matter. That doesn't mean she's doing anything wrong just because I don't like her. But I don't think that it's fair that she's treating this person who clearly has a disability. From anybody who's ever been around children with autism or young people with autism, you would recognize this behavior almost immediately. And she's now on notice from defense counsel that he has special needs. And if you heard that person in the background, they said, oh, he's like Sabrina's people. If you said to this judge, you've met people in your life that always have a chip on their shoulder, and if you can't tell that about this judge, then you've never met anybody like this. But if you have, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This judge has an enormous chip on her shoulder. Imagine what would happen if you said to this judge, well, she's like some of your people, Judge. And then somebody in her court staff or somebody in this Zoom call has said, he's kind of like one of Sabrina's people. I don't know what that means, but it was meant to convey to the judge that he was special needs. And I guarantee you, I would bet every penny available to me in my bank account that if you said anything like you people or your people to this judge, she would lift the roof with her blood pressure.
All right. Ms. Barnett, I do need to swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give? Ms. Barnett, are you...
They're both judged in the same house. So she needs to, you need to turn the volume off on his or yours, on one of yours. No audio.
You're in the same room with either Mr. Patel or Mr. Ponce. Which one is it, Ms. Barnett?
Mr. Ponce.
You're in the same room with Mr. Ponce and there's a no contact order?
Let me turn this down.
Is that what I just heard?
Your Honor, I was told that there was a modification in place and that was approved, that was okay.
I don't know who approved it because I didn't approve it, and this court does not look kindly on that. I'm going to stop this proceeding now, Kelly. We don't do this thing backwards.
Okay.
I'm not very pleased with this. Y'all figure it out. I'm not approving this today because what this tells me today is that there's going to be a way to circumvent my order no matter what I order, because they just did it today. Okay. He needs to settle down. We're not going to have this proceeding, Kelly. He needs to calm down. I understand he's special needs. I'm not going to address you, Mr. Ponce. You need to be quiet. Your attorney's trying to get some things done for you, and you need to allow him to try to do that. We're going to stop this proceeding. Kelly, this court cannot tolerate people circumventing my orders and believing that someone approved them when they didn't. Any change in that order. That's why we're having this hearing. So we're stopping today. I don't know what you need to do, Kelly, but when they come in, they're in violation right now.
Okay, Josh, we will address it. We'll refile.
You don't need to refile. I think you
need to have it heard. But I mean, if you're not going to hear it today, I need another date. So,
well, either that or they're going to file a violation on him on the bond. I'm trying to allow you the time to resolve their non-compliance with the bond conditions right now as I see it. And I don't like rewarding people because that's what it's going to be for violating these orders. There's a reason why there's a no contact order. I don't know that reason. I didn't issue it. It's at the mags, right? We have a standing order. That mag could have done a no harmful or injurious contact at that point, and they didn't. So I'm not going to reward violations of the conditions, Mr. Piddle. And I know it's not you. It's not you at all. But they need to understand it, and that's going to take a conversation with them, especially if Mr. Ponce thinks he can come in here and act out. I understand what you said to me, Kelly, but he can't come in here and start to want to engage with me and yell like he was yelling on camera and act the way he was acting on camera, because that wouldn't be tolerated in the courtroom. You don't have to like it, Mr. Ponce. The power dynamic here is very, very offset. You can act out all you want. All it's going to give me is enough information about your behavior to rule. We are recessing today's hearing, and we will resume the hearing on another day when Mr. Piddle's had enough time to speak to Ms. Barnett and Mr. Ponce.
Minutes, please. Minutes, please.
Carrie, mute yourself, please.
We're done. We're done, Kelly. This matter is concluded. Thank you.
I don't have a problem with a judge saying, hey, look, I got a no contact order. You can't go around violating the no contact order. There are ways to address the no contact order where you don't think that you can comply with it. So the lawyer here, and he may have told him, I have no idea. You can't control people. Do not be in contact with them until I get this done. So it sounds to me like the defense lawyer is doing his diligence, and he's talking to the district attorney and saying, hey, look, my guy's probably not even competent to stand trial for whatever these charges are. And so when she asked him if there's a competency evaluation, this attorney is like, we're going to explore that. I'm trying to get this bond condition lifted so we can take that route, because who's going to take the kid to his freaking competency evaluation? His mother. You know what I mean? Like, it's the arrogance and ego of this judge is unbelievable to me. It breaks my heart to see this young man leaning his head on his caretaker and sort of curled up on her shoulder because he doesn't know how to cope with the emotion of what's going on. And all of that is completely lost on this judge. But where she makes her mistake, ethically speaking, is she says they're going to file a motion to revoke his bond. They may not file a motion to revoke his bond because they may understand that they don't have a case that they can prove. It's the state's case. It is not the judge's case. The judge does not get to decide whether the judge rules on what is put before her from the parties. If the state doesn't make a motion to revoke the bond, of course the judge can revoke the bond. The judge can make a sua sponte. That means, an order from the court or her own order uninitiated by the parties. The judge can make a sua sponte order to revoke the bond. But that's not what she's doing. She's trying to influence the state to revoke the bond. that is where she violated the judicial canon of neutrality, because the judge is supposed to be neutral and detached. The judge has one of two options. The judge can either make a sua sponte revocation of the bond based on a violation of the no contact order, or the judge can wait till the parties put a motion or a matter before her, and then she could rule on that matter. She doesn't get to influence or coerce the state into bringing a bond motion and then rule on it. They had put the agreement before her, and her ego hadn't gotten so out of control that she wasn't able to even finish the hearing. She had the prerogative to say, no, I'm not going to approve that. I'm concerned about the no contact order. I'm concerned about whatever's going on with this. I want a competency evaluation on this kid before we do anything else. There were all kinds of options. The worst thing she could have done is what she did, because it made it obvious that all this is about her ego and her controlling nature and her chip on her shoulder and her inability to let anything slide without showing total dominance. I mean, she might as well be a cop. She'd be a great cop in 2024 policing. I mean, hell, that's exactly what they do. But if I was the district attorney, I would just nolly this case. I'd just say, well, Judge, we tried to bring an agreement before the court while still maintaining safeguards to see where the case led, depending on what the defendant's competency was. But the court was so heavy-handed in its disregard for what we were trying to do that we had no choice but to dismiss the case, because otherwise there were such strenuous bond conditions based on this kid's medical history that we couldn't get it done. And so I really do think this is a judicial conduct violation. Now, I might be wrong. I don't know the judicial canons in Texas, but almost every judicial canon in every state has a component that's supposed to be supported by neutrality. I'm amazed. I cannot imagine that this person is going to be on the bench for much longer. So I'm waiting with bated breath to hear that Judge Gonzalez has been removed from the bench. I think that she has abandoned any semblance that she has ever had that has compassion for people with special needs, and I think that her conduct on the bench is disgusting.
And we begin this Thursday with breaking news. 1 week after being indicted, County Court Judge Rosie Speedlin Gonzalez has been suspended. That order came down today from the State Commission on Judicial Conduct. And KSAT Investigates Dylan Collier has been following this story. He's been on it since the very, very beginning. And I'm just wondering if this surprised you in any way coming down today.
Ernie, I'm surprised it took this long. We've had some case precedents recently in other counties in our viewing area. Usually the suspension without pay comes within a day or two. This order comes on the heels of Speedlin Gonzalez being charged with felony unlawful restraint and misdemeanor 2024 altercation with a defense attorney she had handcuffed in court. The order was made public this afternoon and is very direct. Speedlin Gonzalez is suspended without pay and is barred from her court until the charges are dismissed, she's acquitted, or the commission issues a follow-up order. No official plans have been announced on how cases assigned to County Court 13 or the Reflejo Specialty Court will be handled. It's likely a visiting judge will sit on the bench for the time being. In some cases, could be farmed out to other misdemeanor courtrooms. Speedlin Gonzalez is on the March 3rd ballot seeking re-election. Neither she or her criminal defense attorney responded to requests for comment on the suspension order. Dylan Collier, KSAT 12.
On to the case of the NYPD police officer who shot a man in a road rage incident and then left the scene and went back to work and checked in for his patrol shift at NYPD as if nothing ever happened. This officer's name is Tran, and I also did a video on him. And essentially what happened was he got into some sort of an argument with a guy in, I think, Jersey or somewhere on the Philadelphia-Jersey border, somewhere close to that. And he ends up discharging a couple rounds into this guy's vehicle, and it hit him in the head, and this guy is essentially never going to be the same. He's completely bedridden. He has no sort of quality of life whatsoever. So Tran ends up accepting a plea deal and is going to be going to prison. So for that, we're going to go out and check out the news story on it so we can give you all the update, and that way you can get a sense of what justice has sort of looked like and how it's shaped up in this particular case. But again, this is a case that I did way back in 2024 when I didn't have a huge audience. So I think only 15,000 people have seen this video, but I'm going to put the link in the description. You'll be able to go back and watch it. But here's the news story about what Officer Tran's prison sentence is going to look like.
Raw emotions as the family of Keyshawn Patel talked in court before learning the fate of the man who shot the 31-year-old in Camden County in May of 2024. One by one, they sat down, choking back tears. Some called the former New York City police officer Hugh Tran a disgrace, saying the crime is unforgivable. Tran did address the family, begging for forgiveness. Soon after, a judge sentenced the 28-year-old to 10 years behind bars in a plea agreement for shooting Patel during a road rage incident near Route 73 and Cooper Road in Voorhees. Investigators say Tran was off duty at the time. They say he drove up alongside Patel at a red light, firing his police-issued gun several times into his car, striking him in the head. He suffered serious brain injuries, leaving him a quadriplegic, and his family wondering if Patel will walk or talk again. According to his family, he went from running his family business to being under 24-hour-a-day care at a specialized rehab facility in Texas.
Now, if you don't typically like the Good Cop of the Week segment, you probably want to stick around for this one. I don't even know whether I want to call this a Good Cop of the Week. It's such a strange story, but they made light of an officer who, the most polite way to say it is to lose his balance. This happened in Monterey, Tennessee, which is a few hours from where I live. And we're just going to play the clip here, and then I've got a couple comments on the other side of it. This is a strange situation, but here we go.
We will try our best.
Okay.
Yep, I'm done. I broke my leg. Yep, I'm done. I broke my leg.
So once the chief of police, I guess, was notified of this incident, he decided to put out a statement on the city's Facebook page depicting Sergeant Bennett's loss of balance. And here's what he had to say. Earlier this evening, Sergeant Bennett conducted an unscheduled structural integrity test on a residential porch within city limits. After a thorough investigation, it has been determined that the porch remains standing. Sergeant Bennett's pride did not. Gravity continues to be undefeated. We want to assure the citizens of Monterey that this was a highly advanced training maneuver known as a rapid tactical descent. This technique ensures our officers are fully prepared for unexpected elevation changes. Sergeant Bennett executed this maneuver flawlessly. No porches were harmed in the making of this incident. Sergeant Bennett's dignity is currently under review. As always, Monterey PD remains committed to serving, protecting, and occasionally inspecting porches, whether they ask for it or not. Now, I like making light of this in one way. In one way, I think it was a disservice to Sergeant Bennett, whose pride will probably never be intact again. However, I do want to say something. This is interesting, right? Let's look at the statement again. And this is where I think they might have, you said the quiet part out loud, and in their attempt to sort of bring humor and, you know, maybe connect with the community, whatever they're doing, they may have sort of shown a light on an area of policing that they probably didn't intend to. And that is their ability to take one scenario that everybody can see with their own eyes and use words that don't match reality and turn it into something completely different. And you can look at this video and you can tell that it's drastically different than what they said happened. Now, again, they were making light of it. They were making a joke, whatever, but there's truth here. And let me read it to you again, just so you understand what I'm saying. Sergeant Bennett conducted an unscheduled structural integrity test, okay? Obviously. So he helped himself onto her porch, right? And then it says, we want to assure the citizens of Monterey that this was a highly advanced training maneuver known as a rapid tactical descent. So that's part of the quiet part. Here, the next part is even more of the quiet part. As always, Monterey PD remains committed to serving, protecting, and occasionally inspecting porches, whether they ask for it or not. And there's never been truer words spoken. We will invite ourselves onto your porch, into your curtilage. We will do whatever we think is necessary, whether or not you ask for it. And then we will use whatever words we have to come up with in order to justify it and find a way to call it good. And that, you know, again, I'm busting his balls a little bit because he was busting his sergeant's balls a little bit. But the truth is, every single critical incident briefing you've ever seen in your entire lives has language to describe the events that is wholly different from the things that you see. And so it really is like I invited them to step out of the car, or this was a lateral vascular neck restraint. No, it was a rear naked choke. That's what it was, right? it's always fancy words to try to complicate and muddy the water, and that's what they did here. Anyway, that's the episode for the day, guys. I hope you got something from it. I will be doing long form videos on the Mahindra Patel case, and I may even do a follow-up once I get all the details about the Judge Gonzalez case. With that, I'll invite you to check us out on all the socials. I'll put up a QR code here for you to scan with your phone. That'll take you to the Linktree site where you check us out on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Substack. You can join on the paid tier of Substack if you want. That's only for people who want to support the channel monetarily. I don't put anything on these platforms that people have to pay for. If you don't want to follow us to other platforms, but you would like to support monetarily, I'll leave Venmo and PayPal links both here on the screen as well as in the description. Please remember to like and subscribe and leave a comment on the video. Check out some of the other videos on the channel. Leave a comment on there as well. Until I see you again, take care. Always film your interactions with the police and keep your evidence to yourself.